Happy Thursday, everybody, and welcome in to Chicago Bears Now. We are live on YouTube. My name is Harrison Graham. Appreciate everybody for tuning in and already hanging out in the chat. And to one individual in particular, Michael Horowitz. Boom! Boom! He launches a $200 super chat before we even went live. Shout out to Michael Horowitz. Get a couple more stickers on the helmet for Mike. Get the booms in the chat. Shout out to Michael Horowitz. He's a real one. He's a real one. Michael Horowitz. He says bear down. Get the bear downs going as well for Mike. Not a bad way to start the show, producer Jack Lauderay.
That's how you want to start. You want to bring the energy early. It's a Thursday. We're almost to the weekend. Bring the energy. Bear down. Let's freaking go.
Mike's got a couple more on this bad boy. Let's go. Let's go. Shout out to Horowitz. Shout out your city. Let us know where you guys are tuning in from. We got LaCora in Randolphville, Illinois. We got Bobby in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Chris in Powell, Wyoming. Excited about this Bears team. I'm with you, Chris. Let's go. We got Donald in South Bend, Indiana. Josue in Kansas City, Missouri. Joe in Lisbon, Portugal. Michael in O'Fallon, Missouri. Vaughn in Wayne City, Illinois. Jaden in San Diego. Robert in Lockport, Illinois. Scott in Colorado Springs. We got Jim in Tempe. Kellen in Dayton, Ohio. Liquid in Plainville, Illinois. Jeff Page, Oshkosh, Wisconsin. We got Jim in Tempe. Ty Man, the Buckeye. O-H-I-O. What's up, Ty Man? We got, let's see, Chris Shipley in Pleasant Hill, Iowa. Jaron Thomas in Noblesville, Indiana. Gage Balk in Rockford. Chris in Apopka, Florida. Chris Carr in Orlando. Chi-Town from B. Bailey. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. Yeah, producer Jack Lauderay going to Orlando. What's up, Chris? Sioux Fall all day. What's up, Brad? What's up, Brad? All right, this is an interesting question. The Bears will have a top blank offense in 2024. 32 teams in the NFL. Top 20? 15? Dare I say 10? Could that happen? What do you guys think? Top blank offense. Chris says 4. Diego says 10. LaCora is going to say the number 9 ranked offense. Chris says 15. I think Chris Ashford, if you're right, if you have a top 15 offense, I think you'll be a playoff team because I think you're pretty safe to have a top 10 defense, unless you have at a key injury. Like if Montez Sweat went down, that'd be a problem, which is why you need to get another pass rusher. But I think you'll have a top 10 defense. Timothy says 32. That Timothy's the only one who is no doubt to be correct because even if you have the worst offense, you're 32nd. Poppy Chulo says 3. Big Print says 5. 12 from Jaron Thomas. The bare minimum for me needs to be top 20. I think a lofty goal, but I think achievable if a lot goes right, is top 10. But I'd take top 15. You get top 15 offense with a rookie quarterback, I'd be pretty happy. But you got a lot of pieces in place. There's no doubt about it. Oh, boy, this feels like one of those days. Michael effing Horowitz. Inside 10, expectations are very high, he says. They are, and I think this team could have a top 10 offense. I'd take top 15, but top 10 I think is achievable. If Caleb Williams is the right guy and hits the ground running as a rookie, I don't see why not. So we'll see how it plays out. Shout out to you, Michael Horowitz, bringing the heat early here on a Thursday. Let's go to free agency. Name a free agent the Bears should sign. Tim says 12. 12th ranked offense with a top 5 or 10 defense is quite nice. Yeah, I mean, look, if you're top half of the league in both units, you're going to be a playoff team more often than not. Because a lot of teams will have a top 10 offense, but then the 22nd ranked defense. Like Detroit last year had probably a top 5 offense, had a good-ish defense, but it wasn't good enough to be a team to go to the Super Bowl. It was close, they had probably like the 17th best defense, which is why they tried to load up on that side of the football this offseason. Calais Campbell from Chris, Jow, and B. Bailey say the same. I'm with you. Michael says, so do we go defense in free agency? I'd like to get Calais Campbell. I know there's some Yannick Ngakoue buzz to bring him back. Edge from the Bengals, that would be Trey Hendrickson. He requested a trade. I'd love to have him. I'd be surprised, but I would love to have him. I talked about him earlier today on some trade targets that I put out. Stop wasting money on defense. I hear what you're saying, but if it's short term, Calais Campbell's not going to hurt you long term. It's a 1-year deal. Yannick Ngakoue's not going to hurt you. It's a 1-year deal. When's the schedule getting released? Sounds like next Wednesday. Next Wednesday, which is perfect timing for me because I actually go out of town next Thursday. So we might even go live. Since I won't be in here Thursday, and we usually go live on Thursday, maybe Wednesday live could make sense. It's going to be busy. Producer Jack's out of town, so we'll see who's producing next week. But, yeah, we'll see. It's going to be fun. Going to be fun. All right, let's get to 75 likes, and then we can jump into today's show. 75 likes before we jump into the show. Let's go. Matt Nagy is still looking at the Y. Yeah, that's good stuff. Gotta figure out the Ys, which, look, in reality, like, you do. He just never found it. He would always say, yeah, once we figure out the Ys. Well, what are they, Matt? Because you don't seem – it's like a needle in a haystack with you. When you're in Kansas City, it's like, well, the Ys are, well, Patrick Mahomes is pretty awesome, and we give him a chance to succeed with our good defense. We're going to be all right. We're going to be all right. Yeah, exactly. Need 9 more likes. 9 more likes. When is Rookie Minicamp? Starts tomorrow, Hunter. Starts tomorrow. We'll preview it here in a few moments. Need 75 likes, then we can do so. Rookie Minicamp, Chase, is tomorrow. Mandatory Minicamp is early June. OTAs are later this month. So I'm in tomorrow too as well, so we'll kind of react to day 1 of Rookie Minicamp, so keep that in mind. But here's what's coming up live, a Bears Rookie Minicamp Preview. Obviously, headliners, Caleb Williams, Odunze, but UDFAs, tryouts, a couple veteran tryouts that are interesting, so we'll dive into that. Live Q&A, need some questions. Already see one in there from Jaron Thomas. Hashtag Bears or Super Chat like Michael Horowitz to get your questions on the show. If you Super Chat's a guarantee. If you use hashtag Bears, pretty good chance you'll get in there as well. So we'll answer some questions for 10 to 15 minutes, so if you ask a question, don't have the hashtag or use the Super Chat, it's not going to get on screen. So those are the 2 ways to do it. And then we're going to get you caught up on the latest Bears news and rumors as well, as there's a lot going on with this football team leading up to Rookie Minicamp. So appreciate everybody tuning in. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Love that Poppy Chulo sits. We'll flash that on screen after this first segment. Here we go. Chicago Bears now live here on a Thursday. On Chicago Bears Now, we have a full Rookie Minicamp Preview. I'll have 5 things, kind of storylines that I'm keeping an eye on going into that, which starts tomorrow on Friday. And the Bears officially announced 9 UDFA signings, couple of tweaks from the initial list that came out after the draft, so we'll dive into those players as well. But wanted to thank you first. Round of applause for all of the real ones, the FGB crew here on Chicago Bears Now. We have crossed 93,000 subscribers, which is just a kudos to all of you watching and several thousand who are not watching at this exact moment. But we appreciate it. We couldn't do this without you. We couldn't increase the content like we have in the last 12 months without the increased support. So continue to spread the word, continue to grow. We can do even more for you guys. So hit the subscribe button if you haven't. We are less than 7,000 away from a milestone on YouTube, which is 100,000. Okay, let's look at kind of the Bears Rookie Minicamp roster breakdown as we go into the next couple of days. 43 total players, which, remember, you got to have bodies out there to run even resemblances of practice, right? Like 5 draft picks and 9 UDFA signings isn't going to cut it. And that's only 14 guys. So they had to bring in other guys. 3 veterans, which or certain vets who aren't on teams or are kind of looking to get back into the league or allowed to attend some of these mini camps. They got 3 of those, 4 years or more in the league. 3-year 2 tryouts, guys who were UDFAs last year who are coming into their second year, and then 23 rookie tryouts who haven't inked deals, but with a good weekend could perhaps sign a UDFA contract like the 9 players who already have. Of course, the draft class is going to garner a lot of attention. In fact, we're going to hear from all 5 of these players over the next couple of days. They will all speak to the media at Rookie Minicamp. Caleb Williams, Rome Odunze, Karan Amagaji, Torrey Taylor, and Austin Booker. Should be interesting to hear from all 5 of those players this weekend. And I'm also keeping an eye on the UDFAs, which ones can emerge here. Obviously, you've got Austin Reed, the other quarterback that'll be in this camp from Western Kentucky. Ian Wheeler, who we talked about yesterday, UDFA running back out of Howard, has some return ability as well. Kentucky tight end Brendan Bates, you still have room for a 3rd tight end, so he's going to have an opportunity. Theo Benedette, an interesting player, offensive tackle out of Canada. I think there's some developmental traits there. I like Keith Randolph a lot, the defensive tackle out of Illinois. The Bears guaranteed him a couple $100,000, so I think he's got at least a decent shot to make this team. Jamari Chroma, the edge out of James Madison, interesting player as well. You need pass rushers, so an opportunity for him to show himself. Carl Jones Jr., the linebacker out of UCLA. Reddy Stewart, the corner out of Troy. I've heard some good things out of him. And then Peter LeBlanc, the wide receiver out of Louisiana. They pivoted off a couple of guys. That Odir Hilaire guy out of Bowling Green, he did not end up signing, so he is not in under contract at least there. Non-rookie tryouts, so the 3 guys on the left side of your screen have all been in the league at least 4 years. Freddie Swain, you might remember him. He had like a 300 or 400-yard season a few years ago with the Seahawks. Tommy Sweeney, another tight end, so again, a position where you're thin right now. Perry Nickerson, the defensive back as well. Douglas Coleman III, Josh Sokol, and Cameron Lyons, another long snapper. Got to have someone who can snap for special teams at these rookie minicamps, so he is going to be handling those duties. Okay, let me know, other than Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze, which rookie are you most excited for? Is it Karan Amagaji? Is it Austin Booker? Is it the punter, Torrey Taylor out of Australia? Who is it? Let me know which rookie outside of the headliners that you are most excited for. Because coming up next, I'm going to kind of break this down into 5 kind of little segments, storylines, things that I'm interested in going into Bears Rookie Minicamp, which takes place tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday as well. 2-day camp there at Hallis Hall. But before we get there, why don't you get a jersey from one of the top rooks, Rome Odunze. Chatsports.com/Rome. Get yourself a Rome jersey right now by using that link. That link is going to be in the comments and in the description. It's chatsports.com/Rome to pick up a number 15 Rome Odunze jersey today. Okay, before we get into my 5 storylines, things to watch, whatever you want to call it, don't overvalue Rookie Minicamp. That disclaimer should be out there. Now, am I excited, more excited than normal? Yes. Because you have a rookie quarterback, number 1 overall pick, you have Rome Odunze. I'm not saying you can't get excited, but nothing that's going to happen the next 2 days is probably going to have a major impact in terms of what happens this season, especially the on-the-field stuff. Now, starting to learn the playbook, classroom work, that stuff's all important. These rookies need to absorb that information, but it'll be cool when we see like a Rome Odunze one-handed catch tomorrow, but that doesn't mean the Bears are winning the Super Bowl. Just like if he drops 5 passes, it doesn't mean they're going to win 3 games. Like, let's have fun. Let's enjoy it. Let's not overreact one way or the other to it. Okay, let's start with those headliners. Caleb and Rome. I am excited. Try not to get too excited, but I am excited for these 2 guys because these could be the next faces of your franchise, especially your quarterback, Caleb Williams. They seem to be hitting it off very, very well. Off the field, they were already training together before the draft. That was a big story heading into the draft, and they end up being teammates. That's very exciting. And look, yeah, I'm going to be a sucker, and when the Bears tweet out that first Caleb to Rome completion tomorrow, I'm going to love it. And you guys should too. You should be excited. Again, it's just, we don't have to make it more than what it is. It's going to be fun to see those guys. I think things that are legitimate about these camps is like measurables. How does the ball come out of Caleb's hands? How are guys running routes. Those things do matter, and they are significant. So it's not that rookie minicamp is a nothing burger. It's just, look, it's fairly unorganized because you have 40 random guys who have never played together that a lot of them aren't even talented enough for this level. So just keep that stuff in mind. All right, the punter. I'm pretty excited for the punter, man. Torrey Taylor. And if you're going to make this move that they did to draft the punter in the 4th round, and I saw that Richard Hightower, special teams coach, hopped on with Adam Hogue of CHGO. That was a great interview. Go check that out. He said he's one of the best punters he's ever evaluated, and he's been doing this for 17 years. Taylor's got a big personality. He's an Australian guy. He has come out multiple times and said Chicago was the place I wanted to go, called it the sports capital of America, being from overseas, obviously. So that's exciting. Of course, punted in the area at Iowa, which isn't too far away. But again, and Richard Hightower said, look, based on special teams coaches' texts I've gotten and this and that, he would not have made it to the 5th round. Now, whether we believe that or not, I think there's probably a lot of truth to it. He was definitely going to get drafted. He better be damn good. That, if you're going to take a punter right there, he better be good. So excited to see him out there for the first time. The next Max Crosby, ? Austin Booker, is he that? Not my words. CBS compared those two after the draft, said that Austin Booker's player comp was Max Crosby. Now, that was like coming out of Eastern Michigan, right? Like, not like current Max Crosby, but the comp was kind of like, hey, this is an overlooked guy who hasn't played as much as you would like, bringing him into the NFL, but you get him in the middle rounds, and the Bears, kind of the later rounds, 5th round, with huge upside. Austin Booker can add weight to his frame, just like Max Crosby did, and he's kind of an energizer bunny. That's how he plays, just like Crosby does. Now, if he becomes 70% of Max Crosby, I think he'd be thrilled. But the point is this guy has talent. He's got potential. He just hasn't played a ton of high-level football yet. Edge snaps are available. Now, trenches play at rookie minicamp, there's no pads. It's, there's footwork stuff that, if you're a real big football nerd, you can kind of look out for that type of stuff. But we're not going to know if he can drive Braxton Jones back until training camp, right? So I think that's important to point out. But still, the work starts now for these rookies, and he's got an opportunity to play earlier than expected. The local flair, Karan Amagaji, he, of course, played in from nearby Hillsdale. The story that circulated after the Bears drafted him. Matt Eberflus was on the golf course and saw Karan and his dad out there, and Karan walked up to him and said, hey, Coach, you're going to be drafting me in a year, which bold statement to say from anyone, much less a Yale offensive tackle. Funny how things work. A year later, he drafted him. The reality, though, is what I just said, is offensive line play in these camps can't really evaluate much. I could be standing 5 feet from Karan Amagaji for 2 hours over the next 2 days. I'm not going to know if he could play at a high level or not. What I can see is how physically imposing he is. His measurables are legitimate. How does he hold up, conditioning-wise? Is he in shape? Is he not? Those things are things you can watch for. But, that's going to be a storyline that emerges, the local kid putting on that Bears helmet for the first time. So that's definitely exciting. And then which UDFA stand out? I think more than anything, these rookie minicamps, that's what's intriguing, right? Is like which maybe tryout player gets a UDFA contract. Because there's always one or two. And out of the 9 UDFAs that have signed, there's going to be a couple that get cut because they can't play. You'll know quick, these coaches, if a guy even has a chance to sniff an NFL roster. That's the easy part. Like you can weed guys out more easier than you can. Like, is that guy a player or not? We won't know for sure until pads come on, until vets come in here. I think Keith Randolph Jr. is a guy I'm excited for. Again, trenches player, so you can't evaluate a ton, but he's actually got some pretty good tape. He's got some good size. He played at a high level in the Big Ten. I thought he should have been drafted. So, I already predicted it on my initial 53-man roster projection that I've got him on this team right now. Now, if the Bears sign a defensive tackle, that could squeeze him out. But as of now, I think he's got a pretty damn good chance. And so the opportunity is there for him. Other UDFA players, Ian Wheeler's gotten a lot of airtime. We've talked about him here. Austin Reed being a quarterback, obviously, as well. But we'll just have to wait and see which of these guys emerge as we kind of cycle through them on your screen. But, the undrafted free agents, this is like their Super Bowl, man, especially the tryout guys. It's like you got to show something, whether it's speed or, showing good hands or making a play as a defensive back. Like those are the guys who are fighting for their lives here. So that's something I'm going to be monitoring. Look, regardless, it's some level of football, right? That's exciting. Like, we like discussing the trade buzz, the rumors. That's all fun. The hypotheticals. I think fans are always intrigued, like, what could be, what could happen. But me personally, I just love talking about the on-the-field stuff the most. Like, there's nothing better than the watch parties that we do and reacting to the plays. And this isn't that, but we're going to see Caleb Williams in a Bears helmet tomorrow. We're going to see Rome Odunze catch footballs. That's exciting. Type me if you're excited for some Bears football. I know I am, and I can't wait to talk about it with all of you, which is why you need to subscribe, hit that notification bell, because we will have coverage tomorrow after day one. I'm off Saturday, so we'll see when I kind of do a rookie minicamp recap. We'll probably do some winners and losers. That'll either come, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, one of those days. I'll work something out. Might have to film something at home, but want to bring that to all of you. So subscribe and turn on notifications. All right, Ron saying me, Trump saying me, Jaron, Fernando, Michael, Chris saying me, Devin and the old man saying me. Rookie camp starts tomorrow if you're just joining us. I don't know what time yet. I don't know if that's been leaked. I would guess late morning. Late morning, 10 a.m. maybe? We'll see. I don't know what time, but those with the boots on the grounds will be tweeting that stuff out tomorrow. So follow me on Twitter at HGramNFL. As stuff starts to come out, we will absolutely cover it. Kenny says me, Robert says me, Caleb says me, Huckleberry says me, Alan says me, Craig, Donald, Anna saying me. Appreciate you guys. I'm excited too. Matt Nagy. Not on this show. Not on this show. Although I have gotten an itch to talk about the NFL as a whole. I'm just throwing this out there. I don't know if this will happen. I don't know if the bosses are listening or not. I've just been pondering. Would you guys subscribe to a show hosted by me? Maybe more podcast style. Just NFL as a whole. And there'd be some Bears talk in there, but we talk about the National Football League as a whole, maybe some college football. Why for yes and for no? Let me know if you'd be interested. I'm in the early stages of thinking about it. Obviously, I'd have to work that out with the higher ups. But if that's something you'd be interested in, let me know, because I've kind of had that itch. I'm like, I love the NFL. This channel is going to be my priority always, but I love the NFL. I love college football. That could be fun, Rolly's neckbeard. He could pop on every once in a while. That's not true, Matt Nagy. It's actually not. They're fun to watch though. Fernando. I would just talk all big storylines. It wouldn't be angled toward one team over the other. Caleb. Yeah, and I tried to do that on this show as well. A video I was going to do on this channel soon is this. How do the Bears stack up in the NFC as a whole and in the NFC North? So if you guys want that episode, then I'll try to crank that out also. All right, mailbag time. Hashtag Bears or Super Chat to get your questions on the show. Hashtag Bears or Super Chat to get your questions on the show. We need some more questions. Anna, I would say 9 or more wins, I think, would at least be some level of success. Below 500 would be a disappointment. Below 500 would be a disappointment. Tycon, if he does, that would be legendary. If he does that, Tycon, that would be awesome. Hashtag Bears or Super Chat, like Bears Goated. Our old pal Matt Nagy's got a question in there. We got a couple from earlier. Super Chat, guaranteed to get on the show. Appreciate it, DC Viper. All right. Hashtag Bears or Super Chat. Bears Goated, you got to change that pick. Well, you know what's frustrating is there's a million Caleb edits number 13 that came out before the draft, and then he gets drafted as 18. There's like 2 edits out there. Where are the editors? Come on. I need some more 18 edits. There's only like 2 good ones right now. Shout out Bears Wire. They put together a pretty good one. Put together a Rome one as well. But Ryan, that could be an interesting idea, Ryan. That could be an interesting idea. All right, few are in there now. We'll get this mailbag started in a second. Hashtag Bears or Super Chat. Mailbag time. Then we got one more segment to follow. If you have more Bears questions, we're going to get into a mailbag in a second, but I know not everybody watches our live shows, so if you have any other ones, DM me on Instagram, at HGramNFL. Sometimes IG is weird where if you DM someone, it doesn't go through if you're not following them, so be sure to follow me first, at HGramNFL. Send me a DM. I always respond to DMs. Sometimes it takes a little while, but I will get back to you. Bears questions, NFL questions, at HGramNFL. We will have it all covered. All right, I'm Harrison Graham. It is the Bears Now mailbag. Joey Kennedy, if the Patriots decide to go younger, would you trade a middle-round pick for Matt Judon, the edge rusher who missed most of the last season? He was off to a tear, 4 sacks in 4 games. He's been one of the better pass rushers the last few years, especially in 21 and 22, 28 combined sacks in those 2 years. This would be kind of a Keenan Allen type of move, but less money. Any team that trades for him only takes on about $7.6 million, which for Judon is an incredible number. But it would be Keenan Allen-esque in the sense of expiring contract. He's going to be 32 this season. You know, you probably wouldn't extend him. So this probably feels more of like a trade deadline move. Like if the Patriots are bad and the Bears need another pass rusher at the deadline, and look, New England's probably going to be bad this year. But if the Bears feel like, hey, we're on track to be a playoff team and we could make a run with another pass rusher, I could see Ryan Poles saying, hey, we'll give you a 3rd-round pick for Judon. Something like that. And even if you don't extend him, you take the rental for the 10 games and potential playoff run, and you play the draft comp pick formula game, let him go in free agency. So I like Judon a lot. I think he'd be a good fit. I know New England runs a 3-4, but to me, he's scheme-proof and would be a great fit. Would you trade a 3rd-round pick for Matt Judon? Type T for trade, type P for pass. Again, I'd probably, this feels more of like an in-season trade, but I wouldn't be opposed to it, man. I think this team is one really good pass rusher away from potentially being more dangerous than we think. Poppy Chulo sits, get your running shoes on, Caleb. That's a classic Matt Eberflus quote, of course. We're filming this live on Thursday, so depending on when you're watching this, rookie minicamp's going on. But, yeah, it's time to go, man. Kind of the first impressions of on-field work. Bears goated, who would you rather take a big next step, Gervon Dexter or Tyreek Stevenson? Big, probably Dexter, because as long as Tyreek is at least picks up where he finished off, that's a starting caliber corner. You don't have a starting level 3 tech based on the level of play you got last year. Because you lost Justin Jones, who played fairly well, actually. And Gervon Dexter, while he flashed, I wouldn't say he played at starting caliber, at least not consistently enough. So I think it's bigger for him to take a big step. Like, if he took a big step and Tyreek took like a small step and was like, all right, he's a firm, very good number 2 corner, because I think he's already a solid number 2. He finished the year very well. I think you'd have to lean Dexter, because my philosophies in football, too, are this. Get the quarterback, protect the quarterback, go get the quarterback. That's how you win in the NFL. There's obviously a lot of other components. You need another guy who can go get the quarterback as well. Ezra's Art, who will be on the hot seat if they have a losing record? I think it would start with Matt Eberflus. I don't think there's anything that could happen that would put Caleb Williams in the hot seat this year unless he just acted like a brat. Like if he struggles on the field but is still – he's leading and his teammates like him and stuff like that, well, he's a rookie. That could happen. I'd be surprised. Like, I do think he'll have rookie moments, but I do think he'll at least be a solid rookie player. But if this team's like 7-10, that probably means the defense did not continue that momentum from last year, by the way, because the offense is going to be better almost by default just because of the raw talent around the quarterback. That's regardless of the quarterback. So I would say Eberflus 1, and then I guess Waldron 2, because maybe that means Waldron came in here, had all this talent to work with, and couldn't figure it out. Hunter Mitchell says, would you trade a 2nd-round pick for Jonathan Allen? Right now, probably not. If it was my own 2nd, I'd consider it, because you have that Carolina pick as well. But he's going to be 30. Again, he'd be a great fit. I think he's your plug-and-play 3 tech. Dexter can continue to develop and be a change-of-pace guy. He could even play some edge for you. So I wouldn't hate it. I'd rather it be a third. I know that sounds kind of tacky. It's like a second, third, who cares? But, I'm not in the throwing premium picks for guys who may not be here long-term business quite yet. Now, a second round pick isn't going to kill you, but I would have to think about it. It's kind of a long-winded answer. Appreciate all the questions. We'll get to some more in a second, but first, got to tell you guys a little bit about our sponsor first. That is Prize Picks. 3 million users active on a daily basis on the Prize Picks app because it's daily fantasy made easy. It's fun. Doesn't take long to sign up. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS to get a deposit match up to $100. You can withdraw your winnings once you build up enough money. Got some season-long NFL stat projections as well with DeAndre Swift, more than 850.5 rushing yards. I like the more. I also like the more on Amon-Ra St. Brown, unfortunately. He had 10 touchdowns last year. I think he gets more than 7.5. 10 to win 30 on that. And then with the WNBA getting going, Caitlin Clark, half a point. If she gets a point, you win. You just got to pair it with another player. So much of a good deal. Why would you not take advantage of it? PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS. NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, season-long NFL stat projections, WNBA getting going. You also got Major League Baseball. It's all available. It's daily fantasy made easy. Click and sign up today. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Code CLNS for a $100 deposit match. Braden, do you think Tyler Scott has, you said had, I don't know if you mean present or past tense, wide receiver 3 potential? I still think he does. He has tools that not a lot of players have. He's quick, but he's also a burner. He can win over the top. He did it consistently in college. His average touchdown, his last year at Cincinnati, it was a crazy stat. It was like 40-something yards, 50-something yards. Now, NFL's a different ballgame, but last year, his issue was not getting open or the speed. It was drops, inconsistent route running at times, just rookie stuff. If he can clean that stuff up, I still think he can, which is why, yes, drafting Rome in some ways is a bummer for him because at best he's wide receiver 4 entering the season. But Keenan Allen's not here long term. If Tyler Scott shows you a lot this year, he could be your slot starter next year with Rome and DJ Moore on the outside. So I still like Tyler Scott. I think he can be a weapon. He needs to have a strong offseason here. Jaden Grimm, are there many examples of great teams with the defensive-minded head coach in recent years? It seems tough to consistently keep a great team, especially if the OC or play caller has a lot of turnover. It's a valid point. It's why, even now, I'll still say it. I like Flus. I think he can be a good NFL coach. We know he can coach defense. The players respect him clearly. Poles definitely does. But it's why I still probably would have made a change. And you can't tell me that Ben Johnson wouldn't have taken this job. And hey, here's the good news. If this year flops, go hire Ben Johnson. He would chomp at the bit to come work with Caleb Williams. Now, we're not thinking that way. We're thinking this year is going to be good. But, yeah, I mean, think about the Final Four last year. Kansas City Chiefs, offensive head coach who calls the plays for Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid. Detroit Lions, offensive head coach, superstar offensive coordinator that runs the offense, which was top 5 in the NFL. San Francisco 49ers, one of the best offensive coaches, Kyle Shanahan, great play caller, has maximized Brock Purdy up to this point. And Baltimore Ravens, and all these teams have good defenses too, but Baltimore, Harbaugh, he kind of swings both ways, but they changed offensive coordinators, and they took a step because Lamar had the best year of his career throwing the football. So, yeah, I'm with you. I think it's easier to sustain success for an extended stretch if your head coach is offense. Doesn't mean it can't work the other way, but I think it's a notable thing to point out. Hit that subscribe button. Bears Now comes at you every day with videos at least twice a week for live coverage, so don't miss out. youtube.com/BearsNow. We're going to have you covered. You're not going to want to miss a thing. Go ahead and subscribe today. Henry Forte, Harrison, what are your expectations for the second-year players from last year's draft class? I think out of all the year 2 guys, I know someone asked earlier, Dexter versus Stevenson. I think Tyreek, by the end of this next year, will easily be the best player from that group because he finished last year that way, I thought. Darnell Wright obviously could be that as well. But Tyreek Stevenson he's a dog, man. He is a classic Chicago Bear. He's physical. He punches at footballs. He is not afraid to break on the ball and go for the interception. I mean, he is a big play maker. I think that momentum carries into this year, and you could look at the end of next year and be like, is this the best cornerback duo in the NFL? Jalen Johnson and Tyreek Stevenson? And then Darnell Wright, I expect him, like, by the end of next year, it's like, okay, you've easily got your right tackle for the next decade. After that, I'm hopeful for Javon Dexter. Can Zach Pickens at least be a serviceable rotation player? That would be nice. But and then Roschon, too. He's a player to watch. Can he unseat Khalil Herbert for RB2? So, a few question marks there. Matt Nagy, would you rather Bears have the number 1 scoring defense or the number 10 scoring offense? Number 10 scoring offense, because even if the Bears don't have the number 1 scoring defense, it'll still probably be top 10. So, if you tell me your offense is guaranteed to be top 10 in scoring, you're going to be a playoff team. If this team is 10th or better in points per game, you will be in the playoffs because I trust that Flus, Eric Washington, and this defense will be solid. Caleb, how would you grade the Lions, Vikings, and Packers draft? Off the top of my head, without looking at it, I would say I like the Lions the most. Then it'd be flip a coin with Vikings and Packers. Obviously, I'm not a big McCarthy guy, but to only have to go up to 10 to get them, that's decent value compared to if you had to go to 4 or 6. Packers, Jordan Morgan's a solid player, but I thought it was a little early for him. They found some good depth pieces. The Vikings also got Dallas Turner at 17, which is pretty damn good. So I thought all three the North out of all the divisions probably had the best draft. This division's going to be hard moving forward. It just is, but hey, if you're at or near the top of this division, you're going to be a team that's built to win in January and hopefully one day in February. Kyle Bradley, order of quarterbacks on the NFC best to worst. Gosh. Let me just pull up the teams real quick. This is going to be helter-skelter. Bodies on the floor. We'll start with the North. How about that? I'll order them by division. It's too hard to do 16 starters at once. North, I'm going to go, at this exact moment, Jared Goff 1, although he could be 3rd very soon. But at this exact moment, I'd go Goff 1. I guess I'd go Love 2, Caleb 3, and then whatever Minnesota trots out there 4. But I think Caleb is more talented than Jordan Love, clearly. But he hasn't played yet, and Love finished last year strong. So if I'm going to be a not too biased guy here, I would order it like that. NFC East, I'd give Dak a slight edge over Hurts, but Hurts has been better when he's made the playoffs, I guess. So 1A, 1B there. I'll go Jaden Daniels over whatever New York's trotting out there, Daniel Jones or Drew Lock. NFC South, if Kirk Cousins is fully healthy, he's 1. Baker 2, Carr 3, although you could flip that. If Baker plays like he did last year, I'd go Baker 2, Carr 3, Bryce Young 4. NFC West, Stafford 1, I'll go Purdy 2, Kyler 3, Geno 4. That could flip as well, but I still like Kyler a little bit more than Geno overall as a player. So there you have it. You know the motto. FGB in the comments. Make it happen. FGB. FGB. We hate the Packers here. You should too. Otherwise, this probably isn't the channel for you. All right, like we said off the top, if we didn't get your questions answered on this show, you can DM me on Instagram at HGramNFL. More coverage to come over there. It's at HGramNFL. Let's keep it rolling. Got Savage, Ron, Caleb, Chris, Michael, Trump, Fox, Jay, Matt, Jimmy, Joker, Malcolm, Laquan, Thomas, Caleb, Huckleberry. Let's see here. Greg says Goff isn't number 1. I mean, his last 2 years of play have been pretty damn consistent. Could you say Love, second half of last year, was a little better than Goff? Sure. But Jordan Love's played half a good season of football. Half of his games last year, he wasn't very good. Now, when he was good, he was very good. So, it's very possible, by the way, that in 6 months, it's Caleb 1. That's not out of the realm of possibility, but I can't put him there when he hasn't played yet. Like, I can't put him over a guy who's been to a Super Bowl, who was in the NFC Championship game last year, and I can't even put him over Love yet. Love won a playoff game last year, played well. So, there you have it. All right, one more segment to go. New free agent target has emerged as a possibility. We'll talk about him. Rome Odunze talking that talk as well. Let's get into it here on the channel. Could the Chicago Bears sign free agent edge rusher Bud Dupree? My name is Harrison Graham. Welcome into Chicago Bears Now by Chat Sports. Bleacher Report linked the Bears to the veteran edge, Bud Dupree. Joe Tanzi here saying that Bud Dupree quietly produced 6.5 sacks inside the Falcons defense in 2023. The performances in Atlanta last season may intrigue the Bears front office to sign him to a one-year deal to provide added depth off of the edge. And, going into last year, a lot of people thought Dupree was kind of done because 3 straight years of only playing 11 games. He had 8 sacks in 2020 despite that, but 3 in 21, 4 in 22. The production had waned, but last year was mostly healthy, 6.5 sacks. Not great, but solid. He's still a capable pass rusher. The thing about Bud Dupree, though, and, I think a lot of guys are scheme-proof, and I think he's talented enough. He could come play in a 4-3. But he's almost played essentially in all 3-4 schemes in his entire career, which is close to a decade now. So is that a problem for him? Is that going to be a challenge if he, were to sign with a 4-down front? He's not quite as big as the edges that the Bears typically like to employ, like Montez Sweat, big-ass dude. DeMarcus Walker, big. Austin Booker, he's only like 250-something, but they're going to add on to that frame. I bet he plays in the 260s, especially by year 2. Dominique Robinson, athletic freak. That's why they took a chance on him. Bud Dupree's athletic, but he's not quite as big as a guy like Montez Sweat. And then you factor this in as well, which kind of adds to the 3-4 theory from Schefter. This was just on Thursday here. Bud Dupree concluded a visit with the Chargers. He's also been talking with the Falcons and Steelers, 2 teams he's played for in the NFL. All are 3-4 schemes. All those teams run 3-4. Now, most teams are multiple. You see different looks, and in a 3-4, he's not going to drop into coverage, so how much of a difference does it make? Well, for some guys, some. For others, not so much. So, I think this batch of players is probably more intriguing to me based on what I think the Bears would prefer and just based on who's available. Like, Calais Campbell's also played in a lot of 3-4s, but he's played in some 4-3s, and he's big enough. He could play 3-tech too, which I like. Manuel Ogba, Carl Lawson, Jerry Hughes, Yannick Ngakoue, he's obviously comfortable here. He says he's ready to rush, tweeted that out. Last time he tweeted that, by the way, he got signed by the Bears 6 days later. It's been, depending on when you've watched this, 2-3 days, so who knows. But, I'm not out on the idea of Bud Dupree. I just think he's probably, and based on what Schefter tweeted out, looking for a 3-4 opportunity. Name a defensive lineman that you think the Bears should sign. Let me know. Pin comment on today's video. After the YouTube ad break, I will tell you what I think will happen here. Calais Campbell would be my preference. I've explained why multiple times. If this is your first time on the channel or first time watching me when I've talked about him. Ton of experience, still very productive. Versatility, he could play edge and 3-tech. I think he'd add a lot to that locker room. I'm guessing Ngakoue is more likely. A, maybe you get him cheaper. B, he knows the defense. The Bears know him and like him. I know for a fact Flus likes him. He fit in well. Kind of a more prototypical 4-3. I would prefer Campbell. I wouldn't hate Ngakoue, but hasn't played that good the last couple of years. But if it's cheap, I certainly am not opposed. All right, Rome Odunze talking that talk. Not like in a just big-time shit talk manner, but I thought he had some interesting comments. A couple of days ago, he had some interesting words, which we discussed, and he did an interview with Bears.com as well, so we'll talk about that in a second, talking about the potential of the offense. But listen, get yourself a jersey. Rome represent, baby. Chatsports.com/Rome. Rome wasn't built in a day, but the Bears offense might have been. Chatsports.com/Rome. Link is in the comments and in the description. Pick one up today. Okay, here's what Rome had to say on Bears.com. We have so many different weapons, so many ways to be efficient as an offense. It feels very reminiscent of what I came from at Washington. Remember, he played with Jalen Polk, Jalen McMillan, big-time quarterback, and Michael Penix. I know they are going to put us into positions to succeed. I don't know who's going to be able to stop us with so many weapons. And look, I've said this, and I've tried to temper the expectations a bit because I don't want to sit up here and say this is going to be a top 5 offense in the NFL. There's still a lot that has to come together. But I'll say it here. I've kind of said it before. If Caleb Williams hits, if he's who we think he is, even if it's not all the way there as a rookie, you better watch out if you're other NFL teams, if you're other teams in the NFC North, because you got the weapons. You have arguably the best QB prospect since Andrew Luck. Some would say Trevor Lawrence. Okay, even if it's Lawrence. Okay. You have a top 3 wide receiver trio in the NFL on paper. Probably the best. You've got 2 good tight ends in Cole Kmet and Gerald Everett. 2 good running backs, maybe 3, depending on how they feel after DeAndre Swift, Khalil Herbert with Roschon Johnson. And even if it's not a huge upgrade, I think it's pretty clear you upgraded offensive coordinator with Shane Waldron. We got to see it. I understand, and that's why I'm not sitting here saying get ready for a 13-4 season and an offense that's going to score 25 a game. But the pieces are there if Caleb hits. They really are. I mean, it wouldn't shock me if at the end of this year he had a C.J. Stroud type of season where he throws for 4,200 yards and 27 touchdowns. That would not shock me. Got to see it. Talent's there though. Pieces are around him. Coaching should be better. Offensive line's somewhat of a question mark, but I think it's at least average to above average. They're talking. They feel confident. They got to go out and do it. We'll see if they can. The Bears will have a top blank offense in the NFL this year, 2024. Fill in the blank. Top 20, top 15. I said it earlier if you were watching live. Top 10 is a lofty, but I think possible goal. It wouldn't shock me, but it's lofty. Top 20, I think, is kind of like, if you're below that, I think that's a problem. Top 15, I think, would be a good enough result. If this was the 13th best offense in the NFL, you'd have a huge arrow pointing up moving forward. So, top 15 I'm happy with. Top 10 I'm thrilled with. Top 20 I'm like, it's not great, but it's better than what you've had. So you still can't be too upset. Okay, is Jaquan Brisker ready to take off? This guy's a vocal guy, both on the team, social media. He certainly seems to be that leader guy. Flus loves him. You listen to him talk about it, it's like, yeah, these guys really get along. He had a strong second half of last year, I thought. Remember early in the year, he was like checking out of every other game. It's like, is he hurt? Is he not? He had the concussion thing in preseason. But I thought he finished last year strong. Kind of right around when Montez Sweat got there. It's like, oh, okay, this guy, you're seeing it. Like, he's really rounding into form. I think coming into this year, you look at Jaquan Brisker, and it's like, could he be a Pro Bowler? I think it's possible. I thought Brendan Sugray had an interesting write-up here on Brisker. A little snippet of that. Bears Wire, go check him out. Brisker returned to the lineup fully healthy in Week 10 and began making more impactful plays, including notching his first tackle for loss of the season behind a disruptive defensive line. His first and only interception of the year came a couple of weeks later, and Brisker turned in a performance for the ages when he tallied 17 total tackles, 1 forced fumble, 1 breakup in their win against Detroit. He was everywhere that day. He finished the season on a much higher note. And again, I kind of alluded to that earlier. Like, he started the year, and you're like, okay, this felt like a big breakout guy to me, and I didn't feel like he had taken a step forward. Like, he had a solid rookie year. I thought he hit a bit of a rookie wall, though, and then he started a little slow. He's checking in and out of games. Just like, what's going on here? But I thought the last 2 months of last season, he was terrific, and we know he's a leader. He plays with the physicality that fits this franchise. He will light you up. I think he's good enough in coverage as a box safety, and Flus and these guys really like him. Like, I really think this could be a guy that has 3 or 4 picks this year, 5 to 8 TFLs. Like, we know they're going to blitz him some. I'm excited to see what he can do in year 3. He's a really capable player. Name a player that you think will take a big jump in 2024. Rookies don't count. It's got to be guys who have been here. Big jump in 2024. Let me know who you think that player will be. You think about who else it could be. Obviously, Brisker. A couple of second-year guys. Tyreek Stevenson. Could this guy be considered a co-CB1 by the end of next year? Can Darnell Wright be a guy who's ascending closer to all-pro status at right tackle? I think those are a couple of names. Could a Tyler Scott be a sleeper and go be a big-time wide receiver 4 who takes the top off the defense sometimes? So definitely a lot of young guys, a lot of young talent, and that's a credit to Ryan Poles and his staff to identifying, and then Matty Eberflus and his staff to developing. And, now it's about turning those into wins more consistently. Appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button. More Bears videos to come. My name is Harrison Graham. We'll see you soon. All right. Patrick Scales. Yes. He's going to be the best long snapper that's ever graced this planet. Terrell Smith, he's a wild card. Crowded room. Kyler Gordon, Darnell Wright, Cole Kmet. I don't want to say a player can't improve, but like Cole Kmet last year, if he's that for the next 4 or 5 years, I'm cool. Like, I don't think he's ever going to be a Travis Kelce, right? Like, he's just not agile enough. But like, he's a good blocker. He's a good receiving. Like, he's a well-rounded top 8 tight end. Like, if he's that for the next 5 years, sweet. I don't think I feel like Cole Kmet, I don't think he's hit his ceiling, but I don't think he's a player that you're thinking like, man, he could get 50% better. I feel like he's kind of done that the past couple of years, right? Like, that's a success story. You drafted him in the second round in the last regime. Kudos to Ryan Pace. And, struggled as a rookie, but had a good year 2. Really good year 3 and year 4. Now he's an established player in this league. Nate Davis is an interesting one, especially as a vet. No Kmet slander. There's no slander from me. Saying he can't be Travis Kelce is not slander. I mean, you're talking about probably the greatest to ever do it. So, yeah, he could have DC, but he's here to stay. All right, guys, this has been fun. Appreciate everybody for tuning in to Chicago Bears Now. Be sure to hit the sub button, turn on notifications. Thank you again for 93,000 subscribers. You guys are the best. Shout out producer Jack Lauderay on the 1s and 2s. Hit the sub button, turn on the noties, bear down, FGB. You guys know the drill. We'll see you guys tomorrow.